face, you see, it even brings me to tears, because Israel needs each and every one of you in whatever way you can. And if not now, when? First of all, it's an exciting adventure. It's fun. And I hope in the next 20, 25 minutes to take you to Israel, okay? We have today 2 films to show you. We have a short one that the IDF has given me to show you, to tempt you to come. And I have my own YouTube, which will take you to the base where I was on. And then afterwards, you'll see me in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv shopping, and also a dear friend of mine. So let's begin. Who can do this? Any one of you. You just have to be in good health, and the doctors know that you are in good health. You have to have insurance for the program and be interviewed by the rabbi. Our own Rabbi Prager will be happy to interview you. And then there's just a few other papers. You get a discount if you fly with El Al. You get 6% off. And so what happens? You arrive in the main hall, and if you're a new volunteer, you will be arriving, you'll be wearing your shirt. It says Isreal, because Volunteers for Israel is known as Isreal in Israel. And then there are other people like myself who like to go a few days ahead of time to tour, or to shop, to visit friends. So this time, I went to Mitzpe, Ramon a few days before I volunteered. And when you see my YouTube, you're going to see Mitzpe, Ramon, which is an amazing crater about an hour and a half from Tel Aviv. And this crater is about 30 miles wide and long and 5 miles wide. So you're going to see that. So what happens if you come a little early? Then you report back. All the programs begin on a Sunday. And you go back to Ben Gurion Airport. Usually the last few years it's like 9 o'clock. And then there you will wait for the new arrivals coming off the plane. And in this meeting hall, there are over 100 volunteers from all over the world coming to volunteer. And you're separated in groups of 15 or 16. And there's a woman, Pamela Lazaris, who decides which base you're going to be on. And you don't know what base you're going to be on or where in the country. So for those of you who are not familiar with the geography of Israel, it's the size of New Jersey. It's about, if you had to drive it from near the Syrian border, it would be to the Negev, it'd be about 7 hours, more or less, depending on traffic and the way you drive. So you do not know where you're going to go. So you have to pack, and the best thing is always layering, because you have no idea where you're going to be assigned. And if you want to go with a friend, you make that request. So you arrive in the meeting hall, and you mingle, and you meet all these wonderful other brave volunteers. And you wonder where you're off to. So the first thing you do on a base is have the proper clothes. So they take you, this begins a very hysterical hour, because there are no sizes on the uniform. So the woman over the counter looks at you and sizes you up, and then if that doesn't fit that particular person, you say, oh, well, I'm smaller, and you take that. So this goes on for, let's say, an hour till everybody's clothed. What do you get? You get a shirt, something similar to this. In the winter, you get a jacket, a really warm jacket. You get a belt, you get a cap, you get boots. If you have feet problem and you have strong shoes, they let you go with that, having your own shoes. Then we proceeded to the bunks, and there's usually 4 in a room. And if you're a married couple, the men are with the men, the women with the women. You're never put on a top bunk. Maybe the younger kids do. Anyway, you have choices of your program, either 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. On the 3-week program, they actually take you around the country on a tour. Now, what are the age groups? My average age group in my group was around 55. The oldest was 82, and last year we had someone who was 86, and we had somebody who was 79. And the gentleman who was 82, he was Christian, and he's done this program about 8 times, and he was a doctor. People come from all walks of life to do this. The first base that I was on, the gentleman was a lawyer, and he worked for Coca-Cola, and he used to escort Joan Crawford to the academy and other functions. And another time, we were with the president of Consumer Reports. And on that base, we were near Syria. That was several years ago. We could hear the planes flying over. And we would tell each other scary stories. But never were we frightened, because Israel never puts you on an active base. And you just feel very secure. Now, what are these little blue things I pinned on? These are epaulets that are put on your shirt, and this separates you from the other soldiers and tells the other soldiers you're a volunteer. So if you're acting out of order, they know you're not a soldier. And you're asked on the base never to take photographs in the warehouse or of the soldiers with their guns. You can take pictures, but not with their guns. Now, after we checked into our bunks, we go for lunch. Lunch was terrific. Are you guys warm with the windows open?
No.
No, you're okay. So, lunch is a big deal in the Army. That's your biggest meal, like in any Mediterranean country. So you have all kinds of fresh salads, breads like you don't even dream of in this country. I mean, real bread. You have, I forget the name of it, barekas. And barekas are like little crepes filled with potato or cheese. You have fresh fish, chicken. I hope I'm not making you hungry, but the food is really delicious now. And I took shots on my YouTube so you'll see the food that we had on the base. Dinner time is usually light salads and eggs or whatever. And for breakfast, it's a good substantial breakfast cereal. Fresh eggs, not like our eggs. And anyway, what are you going to do there? Okay? You're going to do mundane chores. You're relieving a reservist from leaving his job or other important things that he's doing in Israel to come and count packages. And this time we were on a supply base. So we opened large boxes, took smaller boxes out, and counted the inventory to make sure whatever was on that sheet was in that box. And we very, very rarely found mistakes. So they're very accurate, and it's important work. Last year I was counting antennas and walkie-talkies and opening drawers to see if everything was in the drawer was supposed to be. But these are important things. And the other thing that you could also be sent to a medical supply base where you put the supplies in the packets. Now these supplies also go for emergencies to other countries, like when the Philippines had the floods recently, and there are tornadoes and things like that. The volunteers pack items for other countries that are having emergencies. So 40% of one base like that is done by volunteers. Now, how did this all begin, you say? Well, in 1982, with the first Lebanese war, every reservist was called up. And General Davidi, who was in the Palma, he knew that the crops were due. And what were they going to do? All these reservists were being called up. So he put a call out, and 650 volunteers came from around the world. Now, it's 32 years later. There have been 160,000 volunteers coming every year. Why? Because it's tons of fun, and you get a feeling of accomplishment. It's very very rewarding. You meet lifetime friends. For instance, 2 weeks ago, one of my buddies who had made Aliyah to Israel, many of those people also join in to the army, and this one gal has done it, 25 times. So she came in, and she was visiting her friend in Branford, Connecticut, Thelma. Thelma is 91, blind, and has done this 20 times. And she has felt that, she said to me, if I could go tomorrow, I would do it in a heartbeat. And now I'm friends with Thelma in Branford via my other friend who just came in. So you make lifetime buddies. And at the end of your service, they take a group picture and they give you a list of email addresses so you can stay in touch with your pals. Now, people come from all over the world. On our base this time, we're 15. We had 3 from France, 4 from England, 2 from California, and we had 4 that were in their late 20s, and then the rest, as I said, average age in their mid-50s up until late 70s, 80, and 80, in their 80s. And we all work together, and it's just fun. And in the morning, we usually get up around 7, and we get ready for taps, and one of us is pulling up the flag, and that's a very moving experience, which you'll see in the video. We had 4 Christians on our base, and one of those gals, she was so moved, we had to hug her after because she was in tears. It's a very moving experience. Last year I had that honor, and I can't begin to tell you what it is to be on base next to the soldiers raising the Israeli flag. Because each and every one of you, if anything happens in this country, you know you're welcome to Israel. You have automatic citizenship. And this is something, without Israel, what are we, really? So it's something to think about, volunteering your time. You can combine it. You can combine it with touring after. They give you little discounts in hotels. They'll set up tours on the weekend. If you go for a 2-week program, you're always off Thursday afternoon, and you come back to the base on Sunday. The bus takes you back into the central bus station in Tel Aviv. And they will arrange for a place for you to stay, tours, so you're not, if you've never been to Israel, they will take care of you. We have madraha, which means leaders, like scout leaders. And these girls or gentlemen are trained for 3 months how to take care of their groups. And you'll see our lovely madraha. So we'll have a question and answer period, but first, let's take you to Israel. And David, I thank you for putting this together, and Bonnie for videotaping this, and for all of you, friends and strangers, for coming today. And that's for 5 days. For our age group, I think that's good. They also have, if you have grandchildren, they have youth programs, and the kids, they come from all over the world. It's quite an experience, as you saw in the earlier film. So, can I take any questions? Anybody have any questions about the program? Yes.
Yeah, any programs during our summer?
In the summer?
Our summer.
Yes, I brought with me when the programs are, and all right, afterwards, I wrote down when the next tours are. The next ones are in May. There's a lot during the summer and the fall. And I'll tell you the ones that, personally, I like it when it's in the fall or spring when it's not too hot. Any other questions?
How far in advance do you have to sign up?
Okay, it takes about a month. Better to be safe 5 weeks, because you've got to get your doctor to sign off on you, your insurance, and you have to be interviewed by the rabbi. So you know, if you're on top of it, you could do all that within 2-3 weeks. And then once